Hey agents, in this video, I just want to give my personal opinion on the current state of the Division 2. I'll be separating it into sections for returning players, new players, and PvP. But before that, you may be wondering who I am and why anyone would care about what I have to say. While I'm no big name in the Division community, I have put over 3,000 hours into the Division 2 and similar numbers in the Division 1. I absolutely love this franchise, and despite the lull in fresh content, I have stuck around and continue to play this game daily, while the majority of the community has moved on to newer, shinier objects. I feel very confident that the future of the Division shines bright, but that's not what I'm talking about in this video. We're talking about the here and now. Just a heads up, if you've been enjoying my content until now, why not join the Center for the Blind? It's free and all you gotta do is hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you. Anyways, to all players who have taken a break from the Division 2, be it 6 months ago or a year ago, I'm gonna make it quick. Don't bother returning just yet. There's nothing new in the game, so if you left because maybe you were burnt out or there was nothing left to do in the game, nothing's changed. There will be updates in the future, this we know. We were told that we get a big update at the end of this year at the earliest. This could mean in a couple months from now, or maybe a bit longer. But rest assured, it's coming. And with it, they will be adding a new game mode that is brand new to the Division franchise. What kind of game mode? Well, we have no idea just yet. Will it be PvE? PvP? Although I bet on PvE, we still don't know for sure. So for the time being, you might as well check out some newer games that have been released recently, or even the Division 1, whose community has made a big rebound. So it might be worth your while to hop back into the snowy streets of New York. I've heard Alex is back too. Now, new agents or people considering buying the Division 2. Would I recommend picking up a copy? Yes! The Division 2 is an amazing game. The environment is gorgeous, the gameplay offers something for everyone, and there is a ton of content. Just make sure that you pick up the Warlords of New York expansion. This was a huge upgrade to the game that gives players more loot, more builds, and a lot more content. Plus, the majority of the players are in the endgame by now, which doesn't come until you've completed New York. You may have heard that the Division 2 is a dead game, or even that the whole franchise is in ruins. You know who's saying this? Entitled misery guts, who think that a game that they've spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours playing, is not worth the $80 price tag. Sure, the Division 2 has its fair share of bugs and glitches. For example, we've recently had a visual bug in the game that caused some players to temporarily lose their characters. The devs got right on the issue, fixed it within a few days, and no progress was lost. Not all bugs are dealt with as hastily, however. We're still dealing with glitches that have been around for over a year, such as in the dedicated PvP mode, Conflict, players can actually go invisible. As ridiculous as this sounds, the devs have not even attempted to fix it, even though the fix would be incredibly easy. There are also a plethora of minor audio and visual bugs that are far from game-breaking, but still a little annoying. Despite all this, the Division 2 is an absolute steal when you consider how many hours of entertainment it provides. So, now is a perfect time to start playing the Division 2. You have plenty of time to play through the story, finish New York, and start grinding for builds before the next update. When it finally comes, bam! A whole bunch of fresh new content to keep you busy. On top of that, a Division movie is being made, as well as a book, and 2 other games, X-Defiant and Heartland, are also related to the Division as well. So rest assured, this franchise is by no means on life support. Finally, the PvP. This is a tricky one. The Division 2 is a PvE first game, 100%. But there is still a fair amount of PvP content in the game. Naturally, a lot of PvE players choose not to partake in any PvP. But there is also a number of players who don't just avoid PvP in this game. They go out of their way to try and make others hate it as much as they do, posting their isolated incidents of being victims of toxicity on social media and discouraging anyone who's even thinking about giving it a try from ever setting foot in PvP. My advice? Don't listen to these people. They've tried PvP once or twice, got embarrassed, couldn't accept the fact that their PvE builds and playstyles were not acceptable in PvP, and decided that this is objectively terrible, and anybody who enjoys PvP in the Division 2 must be a complete and utter idiot. As a PvP player myself, I completely understand when people say they don't enjoy PvP in the Division 2. It's not for everybody. But what it is a completely unique PvP experience that you will not find in any other game in the market. Nothing even comes close. I've tried other PvP shooters and really enjoyed them, but nothing scratches that itch quite like the Division. Unfortunately, the devs have somewhat abandoned the PvP for a while, especially conflict PvP. New implementations like the mercy rule, spawn debuffs, and overpowered skills have been big issues in this game. I'm sure the devs know how ridiculous they are by now, but have just swept them under the rug. They tried to cater the PvP to PvE players who felt left out because they couldn't compete in PvP in the Division 1. They failed miserably, but have yet to admit their mistakes, and thus these broken and inane mechanics remain in the game. Nonetheless, despite all this crap, despite the temporary dip in players, my friends and I are still able to find players to PvP with daily, with minimal to no wait. Again, those misery guts will chime in and tell you, I waited 10 minutes to find a conflict match and nobody joined.
Jesus Christ, that's such horseshit.
Then there's the Dark Zone. This is a more unique style of PvP based in an open area where anything goes. It can range from picking on PvE players while they're trying to farm loot to big server-wide skirmishes full of PvP sweats. Again, players either love it or hate it. In the Division 1, the Dark Zone was a great place, albeit risky and dangerous, for both PvP and PvE. In the Division 2, it's hit or miss. You'll get servers full of players looking for PvP, servers full of PvEers, a mix of the two, and even some that are completely empty. These can be good or bad, depending on what you're looking for. Generally speaking, I'd say the Dark Zone is the more popular PvP mode in the Division 2. Neither is anywhere near perfect, but both can be great fun in their own ways. So the TLDR. To anyone taking a break, don't bother returning until the next big update within the coming months. Now is a great time to start playing the Division 2. And despite the mess of a state that PvP is in, it's still pretty awesome in its own unique way. That's all from me. Happy farming, and I'll see you in the next video.
Oh, baby.